The highest reach of injustice is to be deemed just when you are not. Plato.
You did the right thing. You told the truth. You followed your principles. And somehow, everything went wrong. Someone got hurt. Relationships broke. People turned against you. Now you're asking the same question millions of people ask every day online. Am I the problem? Public opinion will give you an answer. Philosophy asks something far more uncomfortable and far more powerful. Because sometimes the real question isn't who is guilty. It's who you are becoming. Here's the situation. You're at work. A team member takes credit for something you did. It's not the first time. You feel frustration building. Quietly. For weeks. One day, in a meeting, it happens again. And this time, you speak up. Calmly. Factually. Publicly. The room goes silent. Your coworker is embarrassed. Your manager looks uncomfortable. Later, you're told, you were right, but you handled it wrong. Now you're left wondering, did I act with integrity or with ego? Online, this situation would quickly divide opinions. Some would say, you were right, you told the truth. Others, you caused unnecessary harm. And that's the limit of collective judgment. It reduces complex human situations into sides and conclusions, as if morality were a courtroom instead of a school. But life isn't asking for an answer from others. It's asking for formation. Philosophy doesn't ask, were you right? It asks, was this action guided by virtue or by impulse? The Stoics would pause the story right here. They would ask a simple but uncomfortable question. What was truly under your control? You could not control your co-worker's behavior. You could not control the reaction of the room. You could not control how others felt afterward. But you could control your intention, your timing, and the state of your inner world when you spoke. For the Stoics, virtue isn't about saying the truth. It's about saying it without losing mastery over yourself. There's a subtle danger the Stoics warned about. Truth can stop being a virtue. The moment it becomes a tool for release, revenge, or validation. Ask yourself honestly, were you speaking to restore order, or to release tension you had been carrying? When inner frustration accumulates, even correct words can land with the force of an attack. The Stoics didn't fear truth. They feared unexamined emotion riding on truth. Because then, reason no longer leads. Impulse does. Plato would shift the focus even deeper. For him, justice is not what looks correct. It is what aligns the soul with the good. From the outside, your action appeared justified. Facts were on your side. Logic supported you. But Plato asks, was this action born from clarity or from a soul still reacting to shadows? Because when we act from irritation, we may reveal facts while still remaining prisoners of the cave. This is where philosophy becomes uncomfortable. The ego rarely says, I want revenge. It says, I'm just being honest. It says, someone had to say it. Plato warned that the most dangerous illusion is believing we act for the good, when we are still trying to protect an image of ourselves. Virtue doesn't need an audience. Ego does. When truth is spoken to be seen as righteous, it stops serving justice and starts serving identity. Eastern philosophy adds another essential layer: right speech. It teaches that truth alone is not enough. Words must also be timely, necessary, and beneficial. Before speaking, one should silently ask, "Is this true? Is this needed now? Will this reduce suffering or multiply it?" In this light, silence can be wiser than accuracy, and restraint more powerful than expression. Speech is not just communication. It is an ethical act that shapes the inner and outer world. This is the question almost no one asks clearly. Not, "Was I wrong?" Not even, "Was I justified?" But, "Did this action make me more conscious or more reactive?" Most, "Am I the problem?" Situations are not about blame. They are about self-mastery under pressure. Life places us in moments of tension to reveal whether we act from training or from habit, from clarity or from accumulated emotion. The situation is the test. The answer is internal. Philosophy was never meant to decide who is guilty. Its original purpose was paideia, formation of the human being. Every conflict asks, what virtue is being trained right now? Patience? Courage? Justice? Prudence? If life only wanted correctness, rules would be enough. But life wants character. So instead of asking, "Did I win this moral argument?" the philosophical question becomes, what part of me was strengthened or weakened by this choice? Philosophy becomes real only when practiced. Here is a simple exercise drawn from ancient schools. Before speaking in a moment of tension, pause, just for a breath. In that pause, ask 3 questions. What am I feeling right now? What do I want to achieve? What virtue does this moment require? This pause creates space between impulse and action. And in that space, freedom is born. Not the freedom to say anything, but the freedom to choose wisely. Now return to the original situation. Were you wrong for telling the truth? Not necessarily. Were you right just because the facts were correct? Also, no. The real issue was not what you said, but from where you said it. If the words came from accumulated frustration, the moment was already lost before you spoke. Philosophy reframes the dilemma. The mistake is rarely the action itself. It is the inner disorder that preceded it. Every ethical failure is also a clue. In this situation, several virtues were being called. Justice, yes, truth matters, but also prudence, knowing how and when to act, and temperance, not letting emotion overflow into action. Ancient philosophy teaches that virtues do not compete. They cooperate. Justice without prudence becomes rigidity. Truth without temperance becomes cruelty. The missing element here was not honesty. It was inner balance. Modern life trains us to react, not to reflect. Messages are instant. Opinions are public. Every space becomes a stage. Every disagreement a performance. Social media rewards speed, sharpness, and visibility, not depth, restraint, or silence. In this environment, truth easily turns into spectacle. And the inner pause philosophy requires feels almost unnatural. That's why ancient ethics feels so demanding today. It asks us to slow down in a world that profits from our haste. Ancient schools did not avoid conflict. They used it. Every difficult interaction was treated like a gym for the soul. Not something to escape, but something to work with consciously. The coworker was not just a problem. The meeting was not just an inconvenience. They were training grounds for vigilance, self-command, and clarity. Seen this way, the question shifts again. How can this situation help me grow stronger in virtue? What could have been done differently? Philosophy does not suggest silence forever. It suggests preparation, addressing the issue privately first, choosing a moment guided by calm, not accumulation, speaking with the intention to restore order, not release pressure. Courage is not confrontation alone. It is the strength to act before resentment builds. When action is taken early, quietly, and consciously, truth no longer wounds, it educates. Philosophy is not activated only in dramatic moments. It is trained daily, quietly, invisibly. How you listen when annoyed, how you speak when tired, how you correct without humiliating, how you disagree without hardening. These small moments build an inner posture. And when a public test arrives, you don't improvise. You reveal what you've been practicing all along. Ethics is not an emergency tool. It is a daily discipline of attention. Being right can feel powerful for a moment, but inner freedom lasts longer. The Stoics warned that every time we act from irritation, we hand control of ourselves to external events. When your peace depends on others behaving correctly, you are no longer free. Philosophy shifts the goal not to control outcomes, not to dominate narratives, but to remain sovereign within. A person who keeps inner order can speak the truth without being shaken by reactions. So let's reframe the original question one last time. Am I the problem? Is often a search for reassurance or self-condemnation. Philosophy replaces it with a deeper inquiry. What in me needs to be understood, trained, or transformed? This question doesn't produce instant comfort. It produces responsibility. It doesn't divide the world into right and wrong people. It reveals apprentices, all of us, learning the art of being human. Mistakes are not identities. They are lessons if we are willing to learn. Millions of people go online every day asking strangers to judge their lives. They want clarity, validation, relief from doubt. But philosophy was never meant to replace one crowd with another. It was meant to wake something up inside you. Long before comment sections and upvotes, human beings asked these same questions. How should I act when I'm hurt? How do I defend what is right without becoming hard? How do I live with dignity in imperfect situations? The ancients didn't offer verdicts. They offered paths of training. They understood something we are rediscovering today, that the real danger isn't being wrong in a situation. It's becoming smaller, harsher, more reactive because of it. Every conflict is an invitation, not to win, not to be seen as right, but to practice justice with wisdom, courage with restraint, truth with compassion. So the next time you're tempted to ask, "Am I the problem?" Pause and ask something braver. What would help me become more conscious, more balanced, more human right now? That question won't trend, but it will change your life.